Hi everyone. RBI sounds like a great place to work at, doesn't it? And it very well could be. But before we make that conclusion, let's dive in a little bit deeper and understand what it really is like to work at the RBI and how you can get there. RBI Grade B Work. You see, a job at a managerial level at RBI is extremely rewarding. The benefits that come with it are far better than any other government or banking job that you can get right through an exam. So very quickly, a few of these benefits are: first, role-wise, you will learn plenty about the economic state of India. Right from inflation to all other major metrics will be part of your day-to-day work. Number two, impact-wise, you will be responsible for managing the government's and the central bank accounts. Work-life balance-wise, you'll have a 9 to 5 job with 5 days of work a week. And job location-wise, you will always be in a tier 1 city in India. More benefits come in terms of pay. So let's move there now. RBI Grade B, salary and perks. A Grade B officer gets a basic pay of rupees 35,000 roughly per month. But additionally, they get various allowances, and all of them once added make their monthly salary fall in the range of 70,000 to 80,000 Indian rupees. Here are the perks. In the RBI, officers get several opportunities for further education at any university across the world. There are many scholarships offered to officers, right from your partial to full funding for your education, basically. And a lot of officers take these up to go to colleges that they've sort of always wanted to go. Post working in the RBI, many career paths open for you. So you will have the opportunity to work with places like the Ministry of Finance, World Bank, IMF, and other national and international economic bodies. If you work at the RBI, you are also eligible for becoming a member of the board of directors of top-notch commercial banks. This is just a part of the benefits that I'm reading out. It's not even complete, but I hope this makes you understand the kind of perks that come with the job. RBI Grade B Career Progression. You see, a part of RBI Grade B's charm is the fact that it stands towards the higher end of the hierarchy at RBI. But how does work at RBI happen? And what does RBI really do? If you're curious about this, please check out the first part of this video I had created, and you'll find the link on the screen and in the description. But if you're still here, I'll share the hierarchy, just the hierarchy part with you again. Not the whole thing. You watch the other video for that. Here's what the hierarchy looks like. It starts with the support staff, then come the assistant managers, then come the Grade B officers. And then the hierarchy goes all the way up to the board of directors. The RBI Grade B officers, they usually start out as managers. They can move up all the way until deputy governor. The governor, that position is usually not given to someone from the internal workforce, and only people with extraordinary achievements are considered for that position. But having said that, even if you retire as a chief general manager, which is high up in the hierarchy there, that too is quite an achievement. In fact, extraordinary candidates only from the entire pool reach the top, which is the position I mentioned earlier, or an executive director or a deputy governor. But on average, most RBI Grade B officers retire at the position of Chief General Manager. Specifically, investment banks are known to offer huge benefits and hefty checks for retired Grade B officers. So even that's something you can consider later on. Now, if you're someone who wants to take up better and higher responsibility, later, you can take the departmental exams that happen after 5 years to get promoted to Grade C officers. If you're recruited at a young age, then you can easily go up to the deputy governor after clearing department exams again. RBI Grade B selection process. So RBI Grade B selection is divided into 3 phases. The first is the prelims exam, second is the mains exam, and third is the interview. Now, the score of the prelims is not considered for the final selection. It's just a screening process. RBI Grade B exam pattern. Let's look at each of the 3 stages in turn, starting with phase 1. The phase 1 exam is a 2-hour long objective type paper that happens online. Now the phase 1 score, like I said, is not added in the overall selection process. It's just a screening metric for candidates at the first level. If we look at the phase 1 exam pattern, you will see the name of the sections, the time, the marks, all of it on your screen right now. Please note that the marking scheme here is +1 and minus 0.25 for every wrong answer. And the scores you obtain in the phase 1 exam, they'll be normalized. They have an equi-percentile method to normalize your scores because the exam happens across different slots. The minimum RBI Grade B cutoff is declared based on the number of vacancies, that's very important here, the number of total people who take the exam, and the difficulty level of the questions. This is of course decided by the RBI itself. Now let's take a look at the phase 2 exam. So the phase 2 exam is an objective and descriptive both kind of paper, again happens online, and the score that you get here is in fact a part of the final selection process at the RBI. So you really want to score as much as you can. More precisely, the RBI will have a cutoff here, and then based on that cutoff you clear in the phase 2 plus your marks in the interview, you finally get into RBI or you don't. Here's what the phase 2 exam pattern looks like. Please note that for phase 2 you only have to choose one subject out of 3, and this can be based on your preference and your eligibility. Phase 2 is a combination of objective and descriptive type of questions, like I said. So you will be expected to basically type answers, and that's something that as an aspirant you would want to prepare for thoroughly before you take the exam. Now comes the interview part. Based on your phase 2 scores, you get invited for the interview. And the interview is the last and final round consisting of 75 marks. Now the RBI will decide the minimum cutoff that you must clear to be shortlisted for the interview round based on your phase 2 scores. Once you do that, before appearing for the interview, you will undergo a psychometric test that's conducted by the RBI. That test in particular has no marks, but it is just a necessary barrier that you have to cross. Now for the interview, you could choose a language between Hindi and English only. And final selection will be based on your performance in the interview, which is very important. This is the reason why phase 2 and interview are given a lot more priority when people prepare for the RBI exam, because phase 1 is merely a selection tool. RBI Grade B eligibility criteria. The first is the eligibility based on age, and the age group is of people between 21 and 30 years of age as on 1st January 2022. But folks holding an MPhil or a PhD, they are given relaxations, and the upper age limit for folks like that is 32 and 34 years respectively. Additionally, people from the reserved category, they are eligible for the age relaxation that's prevalent in all government jobs as per the Government of India norm, so you could check that out as well. Now the second part of the eligibility criteria is your educational qualification. Essentially, you require 60% marks in graduation, 50% if you are from the reserved categories, or an equivalent grade in your bachelor's degree, along with your 10th and 12th standard exams from any recognized university or board. This makes you eligible. RBI Grade B preparation. Let's first talk about the prelims exam, and let's take this up section by section. First comes the general awareness section, which majorly includes current affairs and static GK. Next comes the reasoning section, which is also the second most important in terms of weightage in prelims. Questions from areas like puzzles, seating arrangement, they are the more common type of questions that are asked in this section. The sectional cutoff for reasoning, it roughly goes around 10 to 15 marks, but you should strive to score higher than that in order to make sure that you qualify for the overall cutoff. Next comes English. It's also an important section, precisely because it will come again in the phase 2 exam if you clear. For this round though, questions on grammar rules and vocabulary are asked. Parajumbles, closed tests, they are all question types that form this section. Next comes the QA section, Quantitative Aptitude. Now this consists of 30 questions and they span across arithmetic. Out of these 30, even if you get about 10 right, you will be able to qualify the sectional cutoff. Speed and accuracy both will play a major role in this section. So when you're preparing, don't just do the topics. Make sure you take a lot of sectional tests and mock tests, full length mock tests as well, to develop your speed and accuracy both. This was about the prelims. Let's quickly go over the preparation for mains as well. Now for the mains, first comes the economic and social issues section, which basically has two parts, static and dynamic. For the static part, refer to basic sociology and economic books. The dynamic part consists of current affairs questions. They can be prepared by daily and monthly reading current affairs about 8 to 10 months before the exam is scheduled. Another important area that you should not miss is the budget and economic survey. They are very, very important. You should have an understanding of them for the year of the exam. Next comes your English writing skills section. Now this is a descriptive type paper. This consists of essays, letters and précis writing. Now essays from contemporary topics are generally asked, and these can easily be prepared from the editorials of good newspapers, The Hindu of course being one of them. Additionally, it's advisable that you develop a habit of note making from the Hindu newspaper editorial and you jot down important points that you can then use for these essays. Next comes your finance and management section. Now there are two parts here that you need to prepare, theory and numericals. This theory part that I just mentioned can be easily covered from the standard books that you will find for this section. For the numerical section, please make sure that you practice a lot of questions beforehand, because the more you do, the faster you will be able to tackle these questions on the exam day. The management bit is usually considered very easy. You just need to prepare the theory parts of the topics mentioned in the syllabus. Additionally, it's an objective type paper, so very, very simple to approach. Now this was about the course. Third is your mock test strategy. Mock tests are very important while preparing for an exam like RBI Grade B, which is a game of speed and accuracy both. If you look at any past year topper, they will tell you that they focused a lot on taking mock tests, especially during the last leg of their preparation, roughly 2 months before the prelims. So there's hardly a 2 weeks gap between the prelims and mains, and therefore the preparation of the core subjects, it must be done along with prelims. Finally, after the mock test bit, the more important part is revision. And by more, I don't mean revision is more important than mocks, but I just want to stress on the idea that if you don't revise sections like GA, management, there are a lot of things you can forget. Every topper that you talk to will bring up their revision strategy and include it in their main preparation strategy. Conclusion. So you see, RBI Grade B as an exam demands thorough and comprehensive preparation. You can prepare for this exam in shorter than usual time period as well, like many people over the years have. But ideally, you take a more than 6-month time frame in mind and you prepare every day to build all the skills that you need for these sections. Coming to the pros and cons and the evaluation of the RBI Grade B as a career choice. You see, there are a lot of perks that come with a government job. With the RBI, the benefit is that you always only have to be in tier 1 city, so you're not cut off in some rural village in some far part of the country. The second bit is that you get to be part of the economic analysis of the country and you're at the center of it because you're at the central bank. So impact wise, the things you'll do, the knowledge you'll gain, a lot of it is unparalleled. Compare it with other jobs. But with it come the cons also. And one of the cons that a lot of people share is that while the RBI Grade B is a great position, if you really want to rise up the ranks, there's less certainty and there's less chance of a fast growth here. For instance, if you work at a private corporation and you do really well in your first few years, next few years, chances are that you will be rewarded either through a promotion or bonuses, etc. But at the RBI, when you come here, there are rules. There are minimum years that you must serve, exams that you must clear, and vacancies that need to be there for you to be able to progress. So you must have the temperament to be okay with this structure and this system, which will have rules that you will be expected to abide by. And the other bit could be that you may not have a very flexible work style. There are certain things that you will be expected to do, and while on a person-to-person basis, there may be other things that you get to do. But largely there's a structure that you must be a part of, organizational wise and role wise. So if all of that is okay with you and it's good to go, then of course, please go ahead, start your preparation. I hope this was helpful and good luck.